Let's talk about the reaction.
Yeah, so my parents had already talked to them about it. They're really
Because you went alone here.
Yeah.
No one with you.
No, so I have no
family is in England.
No family. Yeah, all my family in England. I have a small family, just one brother, a few cousins. So I kind of spoke to my mum first, and I told her, look, I've been reading books. I'm very interested in this, and she knows me. She knows I like to read, and I've always been searching. She knows
that you sometimes will do something that will not let her, happy with you.
Exactly. Like for example, sometimes, like one time, I just phoned my mum and said, "Mum, I'm going to Brazil." I just disappear, and I'd spend 1 month like walking around Brazil, meeting people, and then she'd call me, and so I know how to worry her, but she also understands. She trusts me. She knows I don't do anything stupid. I always look into something before I do it. I'm a fairly balanced person. So I started talking to her before I even said it. She said, "You converted to Islam. Congratulations!" Yeah. I said, "How?"
She has no problem.
No, she had no problem. She had no problem because from explaining to her what it's really about, she said, "Sounds fine. Doesn't sound bad." So yeah, she was happy, and she said, "Look, whatever makes you happy, it's going to make me happy. As long as you're safe, then I'm fine." And to be honest, if you have some values and some rules, and you believe that there's something more out there than just yourself, you're not so selfish, then she's happy with it.
So that's good that she was understanding.
Yeah,
about the decision that you have made.
Yeah, the whole family. I mean, you have jokes. People joke about you, and but nothing was ever done in a bad way.
Like, if you can mention one of them.
Well, no, it was just the first question was, look, how long are you going to grow a beard? And look, I'm not growing a beard. And they expected me to come home wearing like the headpiece.
The wrong idea that he had.
Yeah. And I said, no, you've got to understand it. And what you have to understand it, Islam is not just in the Arab world. It's across the whole world. I think only 20% of Muslim communities are in the Arab world. So there's over 1 billion Muslims in the world. Including England and Europe,
India, Indonesia, the most part of the, let's say, China, they have like 20 million, but India and Indonesia are
exactly. So
the majority.
Because, like what we said at the start, because of television and the news, people we always associate the Islamic world just with the Middle East. And people forget that it's not just here. Yeah, it starts here, and this is the Holy Land. This is where, if we have Hajj and pilgrimage, we always come here.
They think that the only land of Muslims are in the Middle East.
Yeah, and they think that why no one outside of the Middle East is Muslim. So my parents have. I mean, my whole family has been quite interesting, because when I go home, I talk to them about simple things. The best thing I do, I'll do something good, and then my mum will be like, "Oh wow, I'm glad you made your bed," and I'll be like, well, Islam teaches us to do it. I like this. So yeah, I had no bad reactions. All my friends were supportive. People know me, so no one's. Even people that are kind of highly religious in a different religion, they almost embraced me, really, because in lots of their views, it's better to be religious, to not religious, to believe in nothing. So a Christian, a Catholic, anybody can see that, and now I have more grounding, I have more guidance, and that's a good thing.
Okay, so did someone, for example, or was anyone interested about this experience that you have and want to know more about what you have experienced about Islam and about the religion?
Yeah, I've actually
had to ask you some questions about this.
Yeah, this has happened on a few occasions. I live in Jeddah now, and where I work, I've had a few people come to me and just say to me, we're quite interested in Islam. I don't know why they come to me. I'm not an expert, but maybe they find it easy because these are guys from Europe, so maybe they find it easy to approach me. and people watch you. When people hear that you've converted to Islam, they tend to watch you to see, see if you're normal.
No.
They might, because in their head they're thinking, and they have a million thoughts. So they look at you and they think, oh.
Sometimes they avoid you.
Yeah, but then they get, and most of the time, most people don't know. They become friends with me, and then they find out that I'm Muslim, and they're shocked. They can't believe it. Oh, really? And then these people are generally the ones that would talk to me more about it, because they see that what I'm doing is good. I'm grounded. I have certain things that I like to do because of the religion, but the way I look at life, is nice, and it's because of learning about Islam that I follow this way. And so they talk to me, and I've had 2 people actually come to me to get some information, and I just did the same thing that people did to me here. Gave them 1 or 2 books. Go away, read the books, come back to me. If they come back to me, I know they're interested. If not, then I'll ask them, and they come back to me, and then we sit down and talk more. And then I'd ask them, right, do you have any questions? Ask me this, ask me that. And one of the best pieces of advice I got from someone here was, you don't have to completely change. You don't have to do a 180-degree turn and all of a sudden be this different person.
So begin with a partially change.
Exactly, step by step. You take your time, you start to make small changes, and you understand where you're going, and you start to walk that way. And many famous philosophers and experts have said this, step by step. So yeah, I've helped 2 people convert.
That's wonderful.
In Jeddah, and one more at the moment he's actually gone home to talk to his parents.
So it needs 3.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice feeling.
Okay, we'll continue inshallah our discussion with Mr. Johnny Dean, but let's take this report and we'll be right back. So stay tuned.
There rides a peace train, oh peace train, take this country, come take us home again. Oh, I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one.
The relationship between Muslims and the many multicultural background here in the West, particularly the UK, from many British people's perspective, will carry more respect and appreciation than any hard or distant feelings between one another. Yet with the presence of some media platforms, others may believe a rather negative perception of Islam is still being portrayed and fed into the Western society, carrying messages of political ability and the poor treatment of women.
The media tends to build up what perceptions are of people. And for instance, I tend to feel maybe sorry for Muslim women, when they have the headscarves on, because there's a little bit of, well, why do they need to wear that? And I know it's because of the religion, but the perception is from the West is that they're being told to wear that type of clothing. If you look back many years ago, the IRA, 1 bomb and frightened 1 million, and that's what's happening now. It's almost, it's scary, because every time you now go to board an aeroplane, go to a train station, it does enter your mind that something bad could happen. And the people that now are getting labelled for that, it's not the IRA or some other organisations, political organisations, it seems to be Muslim people that get labelled for that.
Well, there are extremely kind, the most generous, hospitable people, and with their hospitality, they open their homes to you, and when they like you, they love you, they'll do anything for you. And we are extremely...
Very wonderfully generous-hearted people.
Very.
The ones we know in our community here are marvellous people.
And we have a lot of them.
And they have the highest respect from us.
And they are one of the most uplifted people in London, in a way of businesses, and very respectable people.
Yeah, so now, because I know the Muslims quite well, so I can see that, I see the range now, but at a great detail. So for instance, some of them are very religious, who go to the mosque all the time, and others are very practical people who help people and do a lot of good things in the world. But there are many of them who are just worldly and a bit confused, because they're just brought up with traditions, and they don't really, they just follow them fairly blindly without really understanding what they are, you see.
But there are, of course, those who take it seriously, try to study Arabic language and the Quran and things like that, and also try to behave in the best of ways with all people. You see, that's the most important thing in terms of worship and behaviour. Those two go together, you see.
With the freedom of practicing one's religion in the UK becoming an increasingly accessible right, one may ask the question, could Islam one day become the established Church of Britain? While the presence of mosques and Islamic communities across the country may require one to no further search for a definitive picture, and so finding the answer may no longer be necessary. Walking here in the streets of London, or even around many other cities across the country, you'll find yourself surrounded by people of all sorts of backgrounds, with a great sense of diversity and multiculturalism. And despite what may be portrayed in the media, the appreciation of Muslim people or any other community becomes a norm amongst all the British citizens.
Smiling, making, dreaming about the world as one, and I believe it could be. Someday it's going to come. Someday.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching KSA2, the Islam Changed My Life, and my guest for tonight, of course, is Johnny D. Of course, Johnny, we were talking before the report about the how Islam changed you, and the question that I was going to ask you is, how can you, or how could you describe your life before Islam and after Islam, after you embraced Islam?
Well, I suppose the main difference is, but after Islam, I became a lot less selfish, because you really embrace the fact that there's something that created everything. There's an existence, a God that created everyone and everything you see and hear about. That I always had a feeling, but I didn't quite understand. You know, and Islam kind of gave me the guidance to really embrace this fact. And when you have that power, that you're basically here to try and lead a good life, to do good things, because what your actions that you do, they are going to be judged. You are being almost watched as how you act.
Of course, they will concentrate on you and the action that you are going to do even after after embracing Islam.
So, and that was the main thing. Before Islam, I didn't ever consider this fact. I would go through life doing whatever I wanted to do, mainly whatever made me happy. I would do. Most of the time that was good, but when you're doing things, you don't really think I'm affecting other people. And Islam teaches that we are all connected, and that we are here for a reason.
For a reason or for a purpose, and everyone should affect the other on a positive way, of course.
Exactly. So I guess what I concentrate more on now is even what I say and how I act. I try and think about how that's affecting other people around me. Am I doing something that's good? Is this even the way whereas before maybe I talk about someone behind their back. It's not a good thing, and Islam teaches you this.
Yeah, it's like we call it al-ghiba.
Okay, yeah, and or even just thinking bad thoughts about somebody, it shouldn't happen, because there is you can. It doesn't matter if you're not doing the action. God knows what you're doing. So that's the main thing. It gave me a structure. And it gave me when I wake up in the morning, you thank God. You wake up and that's the first thing you think about. And it does, you really, your life changes. You become a lot more positive, I think, when you embrace Islam, because of the power of giving gratitude, giving thanks. This is an amazing feeling.